This week's episode of The Grid is sponsored by MPix. Shoot today, upload tonight, we ship tomorrow. Manfrotto, imagine more. All One Software, focused on photography. Tiffin, helping create the world's greatest images. Peach Pit Press, publishers of technology books, ebooks, and videos for creative people. Epson, exceed your vision. Expo Imaging, Rogue Flash Benders for speedlight enthusiasts. Nix Software, photography first. And B&H Photo, the professional source.
Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to another live episode of The Grid. We are broadcasting live from our headquarters, 11 feet above sea level here in Tampa, Florida. And we have some very, very special people here. Not you. Him. He's so dang special.
Yes.
All right, this is Matt Klaskowski.
Hey, everybody. Good to see you again.
Hey, Matt, I don't know if we talked about this, but it's okay to shave before the show.
You know what's funny is we got so Meredith was telling me that people are actually commenting saying like I look tired and stuff like that. It's just haven't shaved.
Frames the face.
Yeah. Okay, we have a special in-studio guest artist who does not.
But I'm not tired, by the way.
Is not tired
not
either.
Normal tired.
She's not tired, even though she just flew in from Dallas. We have Dixie Dixon with us.
Hey,
Hi, Dixie.
how's it going?
So I have to tell a real quick story of how we met Dixie. So it was in New York City at the Photo Plus Expo, and so Nikon has a big theater, and people pack in. It's Joe McNally, it's all the big names, and so I see a person who I didn't know her name at the time, which I feel bad about. But, so I'm watching, I was checking out different ones. I picked a couple I wanted to see. And so I go up there, and Dave Moser, our chief operating officer, is with me. And she's on stage. We get there a little late. She's already on stage. And we sit down, and I'm watching her, and then she starts bringing up her images. And I'm like, oh, she's really good. Ooh, holy, and she looks really young to be this good. And I'm thinking, whose images are these really? And so we're watching this, and she's got a great presentation, great images, the whole thing. And so Dave Moser leans over to me and says, we got to get her on the grid or something. And I'm like, we really do. So we met her at the show. We had to track her down because when she was done with her presentation, she sprints. So she sprinted across the floor, but we actually ran into her a little later, and she had a great guest blog. I was on vacation when you did your guest blog, but your guest blog was great.
Oh,
so
thank you.
If you go to scottkelby.com, you can read a little bit more about her. But she's got the type of work that she's doing. So many of us out there would be like, "Wow, she's
Oh my God.
she's reached this incredible pinnacle at a very early age, which really makes us angry." So when we come back from the break here in a minute, we're going to take your questions. And we're going to talk about how she got in this business, how she learned all this stuff. Matt was just looking through her portfolio here, and her book is just incredible.
Yeah,
and Matt's like, how did you learn to do all this stuff? It's a beautiful book. It's beautifully put together. And we're going to look at her website in a minute because Matt's hogging the book. Well, hold it up, Matt. Show some cool stuff.
No.
Thank you, guys.
Seriously, hold up the cover, the front
much.
cover.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Well, there's.
And this book had to be inexpensive to put together. What, $10, $12?
Oh yeah, $10.
No, when you have a real professional portfolio out to go out and get work, the amount of money you spend on it is staggering. The time and money, isn't it staggering?
Indeed.
It really is. Joe McNally's talked about that here on what he spends on making. You only make a few books. You don't make like 300. But some of the stuff is here. And what was interesting I found about your presentation, even though we're not supposed to really talking about this till after the break, was some of the stuff that you do was like not in Photoshop. Like it's old school. It was done in camera, and I'm like, props. Yeah, that was really good. So we're going to talk about all this stuff and a whole lot more. But before we do that, we have a couple of quick little things to do, housekeeping stuff. Number one is we launched a brand new magazine this week, and it's called Lightroom Magazine. It is for Lightroom users. It has been an absolute disaster since we launched it.
It's actually been kicking butt. It's a disaster for some people.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's been one of those things where it was a long download, but a lot of people download it. And if you go on Twitter, people are like, man, this magazine's awesome, it's great. And then followed by, it timed out, I could never
download it.
Now you have to realize what's interesting about iPads is they're all pretty much the same. Right? It's not like there's 10 different brands of iPad. If you have an iPad, it's only available for the iPad. If you have an iPad, It's an iPad. Of course, we all test it internally. They test it in France, where they're working with our developers are. Everybody tests it. It works great.
Apple gets the app.
Apple gets the app.
Apple will not really release a not working, not downloadable app.
They test it, and it works for a ton of people, and it doesn't work for another ton of people. So it got off to a really, really horrible yet great start. We were able to find the problem this week.
Yeah.
And so we've cut that download times in half, and the big problem that wasn't working well kind of went away. Yeah. So if you tried a couple of days ago to download the first issue is free, and then it's just $4.99 for any other issues you wanted. There's 2 issues available now. But it's all Lightroom stuff. It's all great. Go check it out. It's available for the iPad. Go to the App Store and find it. And it's not a super quick download, but it's half of what it was for people last week.
You said you got it in what, 12?
I got it in 12 minutes. I have Verizon Fios. I have a real fast connection at home, and I got it in 12 minutes. I had people saying I got it in 8 minutes, I got it in 7 minutes, and then I had people saying it took me 2.5 hours. So it hasn't been a great launch. It's a great magazine.
And it's shattered our expectations. The downloads are crazy.
Yeah, the downloads are crazy.
Thank you for downloading it, because many of you have.
It's not how you want to launch a magazine, I can tell you that. You don't want to launch a magazine, and have people go, I can't get it. That's the worst thing for a publisher, And who is the editor, by the way, Matt? It's Matt. Matt is the editor, so it's all on him. So I'm the publisher. I just sit back and go, talk to Matt. Okay, hey.
I point to the web guys.
Let's point to the web guys.
Just
Why
go
not?
downhill. Downhill.
No, the web guys are great.
We got it all taken care of. So.
Okay, so it's better go download it. Okay, a couple things. We have some giveaways today. What can we give away? We're going to give away Dixie's camera. We're going to give away her book. Oh, we're going to give away 10 copies of her book. No, we're giving away. Hey, we have a really great giveaway.
I know we do. It's awesome.
Photoshop World full conference pass.
Oh, that wasn't the one I was talking about. I was going on number 1 up there.
Yeah. That's awesome.
No, that's not that good. Photoshop World full conference pass. We are in Orlando, Florida in April, and we did something different in Photoshop World. We have 7 different tracks. You can go to Photoshop World and watch nothing but, you can go for all 3 days and do nothing but lighting. You can do nothing but photo technique. You can do nothing but Photoshop for photographers.
Lightroom.
Photoshop for designers. Lightroom. So you can just basically pick, it's like 7 conferences in one, all wrapped around photography and Photoshop and graphic design. Like the way I put all that together.
Well, and I mean,
it's amazing.
we kind of went about the conference a little bit different this time.
Yeah, we did.
We kind of built a conference that we thought people would want to go to, and then you start filling it with people.
Right.
Right.
And
yeah,
I think
it's like, what would we want to learn if we could learn anything?
Yep.
And how would we learn it? And so we really did start from scratch. We're going to be giving away a full conference pass to that. Matt, you're on the road. We're going to give away some tickets to Matt's seminar. So where are you next? You're like in Oklahoma like tomorrow, aren't you?
I leave for Oklahoma City tomorrow. So if you're watching this on Wednesday or Thursday, you can still get by there for the Friday seminar. And then next Thursday, a week from tomorrow, I'll be in Austin. And then mid-February, I'll be in Arlington and Atlanta.
Hey, you're going to have a really big crowd in Austin.
I hope.
I saw your numbers today. Yeah, I hope he's going to have a big
Last
crowd.
time I was in Austin, it snowed.
Did it? In Austin?
The day of my seminar.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Texas weather. Unpredictable.
Wow. You know who's in Austin? Ted Waite. My
Yeah,
editor.
I know. I'm gonna have
my
dinner
book
with him.
editors.
We're going
Ted
to,
there.
what's it called? My favorite.
Well, he's your book
Tex-Mex
editor too, isn't
place.
he?
What's the name of that place?
Some Tex-Mex place.
Chewy's.
All right. Also, we're going to give away RCs on the road. So go to kelbytraining.com, click on the live training button, and you'll see where RC is going to be, where Matt's going to be. I'm nowhere. I have no seminars. I'm launching a new seminar tour, but not till I think April. And I want to tell you about it now because it's so great. It will blow your mind. You'll forget Dixie Dixon's here. You'll forget Matt's here. It'll just be a big hazy fuzz of love. Hey, when we come back, we're going to be talking to Dixie. We really want to take your questions. So if you want to send in questions, Brad Moore, B-Rad, also DJ B-Raddy Rad, is going to be monitoring your questions. We would, okay, hey, we're going to ask the first question. James says, lovely cover. Would Dixie mind sharing her age?
I'm 27.
She's
currently,
27.
I think. Yeah.
I think.
We hate, yeah, we hate
It's
After
way too early
21,
for that
it
to
sort
start.
of
Yeah,
runs
we
together.
hate you even more because, you know,
That's really the last good
Hey.
birthday, isn't it?
I was a photographer when I was 27.
What can you do?
I didn't have a book like that. In fact, I don't think I could afford a book. And I don't mean a portfolio book. I mean like a book that you would buy at Barnes & Noble. It was a whole different world. People were not flying me around to be on their show. It was a very different time. But hey, we're going to take a short break. We're going to answer your questions. We're very anxious to answer your questions. I'm sure Dixie is because we have nothing planned. Stick around. We'll be right back. You're live here on The Grid.
can't wait to do this again.
For more than 25 years, Peach Pit has been home to the world's best authors and continues to publish the best books, ebooks, videos, and apps. Whether you're an aspiring or established photographer, Peach Pit is here to help you learn new techniques and inspire your creativity. Peach Pit, the future looks creative.
Hey, we are back. Welcome back. Hey, if you're watching live at home, and I know you're not watching dead at home, if you're watching live, would you do us a favor? Right now, because you're sitting in front of your computer's right there, right?
It must be.
Must be. Take a moment, if you would, and just jump over to Twitter, to Facebook, or...
Ooh, whose phone is that?
Uh-oh.
That's crazy. It's not my phone.
Not mine.
Whose phone is that? Who said that his
so
phone
weird.
was silenced? I think the words "eat it" even came out of your mouth when they said silence your phone.
Uh-oh. It happens. It's your
No,
show,
it's somebody
so
from
you
New
can
York.
do that.
It's probably Peter Hurley.
Oh well, Dixie's from New York.
'Cause I was just...
You keep saying she's from New York.
She's not from New York. She's from
I know,
Dallas.
I know.
Okay. All right. So what the heck was I saying? Oh, if you're watching
It's
at
a
home,
tweet.
just send out a tweet. Hey, I'm watching the grid live. Come and join in. We would love it if you would help share the... Because we took like 4 weeks off for the holidays, and now we're kind of back. And yeah, have them come by here, kelbytv.com/thegrid. So if you would help us spread the word, we would be very grateful. We'll even give away prizes later.
We'll help you.
More prizes than probably we even talked about. Okay. Oh, no, I got a kick butt prize to give away.
Ooh.
Brad, do you know those things that we... No, we're not giving away Brad. Brad's way too expensive. The care and maintenance of Brad is insane. You do not want that. Brad is great, but Brad doesn't come cheap. No, Brad, you know those things that are on my desk in a yellow envelope? I don't want to say what they are. You don't have to get it right now. I'm giving away the coolest gift for... It's not for everybody. But somebody is going to black out when they get this gift, and it's not
If the
that-
right person gets it.
If the right gets
right
it. If
person.
not, you're just going to go, what? No, but don't we let them choose which gift they want, Pete? Don't we say they can write what the gift they want is when they join this? You can write your gift. Someone's going to love it, and it's bad.
He just works here. He doesn't know.
Pete just works here. Okay, so Dixie, before we get to some of the questions, and the questions are already pouring in, good questions too.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just jump down to Doug Evans' one. It's like, when and why did you get started in fashion photography?
Fashion photography, I think, always captivated me. And I studied abroad with a fashion photographer my junior year of college. And that's when I sort of fell in love with the fashion photography aspect of things and really just creating that illusion in the camera. And you know, that really inspired me to go out and shoot my own fashion work and sort of develop my style and really just get started in creating like this dream world. Because I feel like in life we get so much realism, and I like to create sort of this illusion, this dream world in my pictures. So it's been a blast.
And you know, because I think it's a cool part of the story, which is, you know, how you got out there. I mean, you had to
Yeah.
apply to this program. I mean, you were in college in
Right.
Texas, right?
Yes.
And then you
Ranching, doing a lot of ranching stuff.
Oh yeah, we all have horses in Texas. I'm just kidding.
So what year was it? Your last year or your third year?
It was my junior year of college. I applied for this
So
program.
just a few years ago.
Indeed. So I applied for this program, and 14 students got in and got to go over to London and Prague and study with a world-renowned fashion photographer, and his name's Jeff Licata. So
Who picked up the tab for this thing? Was it a scholarship kind of thing?
I took out a loan for it and
Really?
paid it back. I did.
Okay, stop right there. No, this is great. We talk about this all the time on this show, is that people have to invest in their future, and they have to
It's
do
true.
like you actually took out a loan to
I
go
did.
and study. We talk about people that go, I want to shoot great landscapes, but I can't afford to fly to Arizona. I'm not going to do that. That seems like a lot of work, getting up early in the morning and all. But you actually took out a business loan.
I did.
And you flew and you studied overseas. Now, it sounds like a wonderful opportunity.
Yes.
But but still, you invested in yourself. And we talk about this so often, and I'm glad to see, this is what happens. You wind up, you're living, next thing you know, you're living in Texas. But, all right. Hey, can we look at a couple of your photos? We have your website, so I want people to see what we're talking about when we're talking about here. So, look she's on the cover of Nikon World. How nice. I was in Nikon World once. I didn't have the cover. No, I was buried in there under I think it was featured loser of the month or something. But,
yeah, right.
All right, so look at these shots.
So
and I want you to see these 3 ones particular here, because I saw you show these actually in your presentation at the Nikon booth. And one of the things I thought was really cool, because I'm thinking, wow, she's really good at Photoshop. Look at the way these things fade away. And she's talking to everybody, and she goes, well, yeah. Well, actually, tell them how you get that effect, because it's not a Photoshop trick.
Yeah, I actually get that effect using Vaseline, and it's an old film trick. You can literally take a filter. Don't put it directly on your lens.
Like a UV filter? like
That's
a UV or something?
a UV filter. I'll take like a Tiffin filter and literally just buy a little thing of Vaseline and put it on the very bottom of the filter, and it just basically creates this like blur. You can do it in post, but I just personally like doing things in camera. I think it's more spontaneous, I don't know.
It's organic.
Yeah, it's
real.
organic. Exactly.
I'm all for getting it right in the camera. I wouldn't use Photoshop if I didn't have to.
Exactly.
So, no, that's very, very cool. Yeah. So now they just saw a little glimpse of your work. In your presentation at the Nikon World, you showed all kinds of great stuff. And in your book, I mean, there's just some. Can I just pick one out of the book that I thought was one I really particularly thought was great? And man, this book is heavy.
You guys are so sweet.
This book is heavy.
It is heavy.
I remember you shooting this one. You talked about this one. You shot this at Union Station.
Yeah, that's correct.
In Los Angeles.
I
shot there, and it didn't look anything like that.
Oh.
I couldn't get that guy to
You,
look
me,
at
and
his
Marv.
wife. Yeah, you, me, and Marv.
That was my
Where's the
first
one?
campaign I ever shot.
Really? That's your first campaign? You're killing me. Okay.
It's really nervous.
Hold on. Where is this shot? I love this shot. It's just.
Is that the one where you?
Now this is kind of an iconic shot of yours right here, right? This is like I saw this on monitors all over the Nikon booth. They were running this shot, so you've gotten kind of popular from that shot. And
I think it's because of the hat. I tend to put hats on all the models that I shoot. I think it's because I love hats so much. So
this shot, I love this shot.
James Dean-ish.
It is so James. It's such a period shot. I love the toning. Let me find where it's not so there. It's not glaring as much there. I love the toning of the image. Like the duotone effect is spot on. Now, do you do your own post processing?
I do.
Yeah.
I know.
I do have a retoucher I can work with, but I love to do the post.
I have a retoucher I can work with. His name's Brad. Okay. Anyway, there's just
He's awesome.
Your book is just wonderful.
Oh,
all right.
Thank you.
So I really now I know that I want to read some of the questions, and I know a lot of people are going to want to know because you kind of made it sound like I wanted to do this and I just did it, but. Just like you invested in going to Europe and studying under a famous photographer and all, and my hat's off to you. I think that's like there's somebody doing it right. You're not waiting for it to all fall in your lap.
No.
So I want to ask you some questions, but what I want to hear is so. It's like that Seinfeld episode. We went out on a date, something, yada, yada, yada. And that's, you kind of said, I wanted to do this, and I just did it. But there's so much hard work that goes in.
Oh, yeah.
So you come back from Europe. You studied under this amazing photographer.
Junior year in college.
All right. So now you're back. You come back to college your senior year?
Yes, senior year.
All right. And so
at that time, I was shooting weddings on the side on the weekends for money and whatnot. And
sound like a sports photographer. What's a sports photographer do in the game? In between games? Shoot weddings.
Exactly. So I told the wedding photographer I was shooting for, I was like, look, I think I want to do my own thing and sort of branch out and start shooting my own stuff. So my senior year, I dedicated to shooting portraits of friends, more fashionable type portraits, and really pretty much started my business in college. That senior year, I got up my website and whatnot. And then, so it was kind of like a gradual progression into it when I graduated.
Oh, I got a question. Go ahead, man.
What were you studying in college?
Yeah, I was studying entrepreneurship at TCU.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I always knew I wanted to, from a young age, I knew I wanted to be a photographer. So I always figured I needed to know the business side of things. So I went ahead and studied business and minored in photo.
What's the earliest you remember being really into shooting? What were you
I was an only child, so I had to entertain myself when I was little. So I had a little point and shoot camera that I would literally set up my stuffed animals and pose them back in the day. I was probably like 7.
Wow. Matt does that now.
Crazy.
So I'm not that impressed.
And yeah, it started then. And just I would come home from vacations with 13 rolls of film, from
Really?
vacation. And I just knew always in love with pictures. And I would have all the magazines, but I would never read them. I would just look at all the pictures. So
That's awesome.
yeah, super fun.
All right.
Definitely.
So
passion.
mine is a follow-up question we were talking about. So you're in college. Were people paying you? Like you said, you kind of started your business. Because this is the hardest thing, and I have people ask this. How do you get people to pay you? Because you can get friends to pose for free.
Right.
Right, and all. So how did you get to a point where people will say, I want to pay Dixie to take my photo?
Right.
She's a college student, but she's so good I want to pay her. So how did that all come about?
Well, I mean, I would shoot a couple friends for free, and I would post the images on Facebook, and then their friends of friends would say, ooh, I want you to shoot my portrait. And I'd be like, okay, well, send me, your info, and I'll email you my rates and whatnot. And at that point,
Because they don't know it was for free.
Right, exactly. So, you kind of got to show the kind of work that you want to shoot in your portfolio and your website, and people will start hiring you exactly for that kind of work.
So you use Facebook as your marketing platform. When I first started out, we only had Twitter. I have a 16-year-old son. I'd love you to meet him. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I have a 16-year-old son. He's a big kid. He's like 6'1". He's like awesome. He's great.
Dude, he's like as tall as me now.
Yeah, I know. He's
Crazy.
he's a. My brother calls him the wall. He's real, Anyway, but what was my story? I started. Oh yeah.
Twitter, you
so
were telling
I
your
have
son.
these moments where I tell him about what life was like. But I said, we didn't have the internet.
Life
He's
before
like,
Twitter.
You didn't have the internet? How did you look up stuff? We actually got in a car
And drove
to a
library.
building
Yes.
where they use a thing called the Dewey Decimal System, which is the stupidest thing ever invented. And it only exists in libraries to make people crazy. Because if you go into Barnes & Noble and you want to find a book, it's simple. But if you go to a library, it's impossible. Anyway, so I had to, and he's like, I just can't imagine a world without the internet and
Google.
no Twitter and no Facebook. So luckily, you were starting out at a time where
Yeah.
Facebook was a very free marketing thing. All right, so you
Very
marketed
helpful.
yourself through Facebook, and you started to get some paying clients.
Yes.
Now, so you're still in school. When you come out of school a few years ago,
Yes.
then what? So how did you
Then-
establish your business?
I actually, I applied for, I think I had a moment where I was a little bit scared to jump right in, and I actually applied for an investment job because I had a business degree. And I was like, maybe I'll kind of do photography on the side as I, work up 9 to 5. But then I had a mentor at the time, and he's like, you know what, if you're going to try it, like now is the time,
Yeah.
just go for it. So
Oh yeah.
I
'Cause
went
you know what?
and jumped right
you won't
in.
quit that other job because you'll start
Right.
paying your bills and
Right.
you'll wind up
And you
having.
get stuck in your lifestyle.
Yeah, you have the things that you want, but you're not following your dream. And,
Right.
yeah.
It's so true. So, I mean, at that point, you're right out of school. You don't mind living on ramen for a year or two. But so I guess, I got out of school and I turned down that job with the investment company that I actually got the job. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I got to follow my passion. And then I started doing assisting work, and I literally got a job assisting at the JCPenney headquarters, assisting one of the JCPenney's fashion photographers. So I did that for a few months, and
Now,
that
was
paid the bills.
the photographer that you were working for at JCPenney, was he doing catalog work for JCPenney?
Yeah,
Okay.
all
He
the
wasn't
catalog.
like come in and do a portrait studio.
No,
he
no.
was okay. He was doing JCPenney catalog work.
Right,
Okay.
exactly. So I was doing a lot of assisting there and paying the bills that way while I built my portfolio and was shooting my own work too.
Now, I want to ask you a
So,
question. This is a personal question. It has nothing to do. You don't even have to listen to this. Because I have an assistant, a photo assistant. Like, what kind of stuff did you do?
Oh,
My assistant, I
a lot
can't
of
get him to do
labeling.
Jack.
Labeling every image that comes
Labeling.
in that
Oh.
studio. And
Labeling.
Go
Go ahead.
I was a
Oh, man, I got-
professional label maker when I was an assistant.
Okay, we don't even have a label maker, so that's first.
Yes.
First, get a
Fine.
label maker, and then
Label maker.
Lens.
Okay, what else did you do?
Okay. I did painted backdrops. And
Brad, call someone. I'm not kidding you. Brad has never painted a backdrop. Brad calls someone and has them come in. All right.
Nice.
Paint. backdrops.
Get paint on my hands.
And then so corporate would send the lighting diagrams to each photographer. And so we would literally have to set up the lights to the corporate lighting diagram. So it's nice because all the lighting's done for you.
Brad never takes direction from corporate.
But the thing is it kind of takes away from some of the creativity, I feel like. So
We don't have any creativity. All right, okay. Hey, let's take some questions because we have a bunch of questions coming in. They're really, really good. But I think it's so interesting on how how to jump from college and open your own business, which is scary. And I agree with the advice that you got from your mentor, because you take a regular job and you think it's only going to be for 6 months, and it's 6 years and it's 16 years. And all. Kevin Halliburton, a very good guy, asks, how the heck does a Texas girl end up taking the fashion world by storm on both coasts? Because you do work in New York and you in LA. We just showed one of your shots
Miami.
from LA.
Yeah.
Miami. How do you get these connections? Like,
I think it started through Facebook, literally. I know.
I'm not
it's
doing enough on
crazy.
Facebook.
But I mean, I just have a lot of contacts in LA that I shoot with, and I'm building my contacts currently in New York. And I'm actually working on sharing a space in New York and possibly LA. So I'm working on being more bi-coastal, so I have a place to stay when I go there.
Now, when you say you're
So-
building your contacts, is this something that you're contacting the people? Do you have an agent that's contacting
Both.
the people? So
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
how,
you have an agent.
how long have you had an agent? When did you get to that point?
I've had an agent for about 3 years. And a
So just after she got out of college.
2 years after.
2 years after.
So
Yes.
did you already say your age?
Yes.
Okay, so
27.
27. So figure you got out of college 22. So out of college, we're talking 5 years. You've built this.
Yes.
That's freaking crazy.
Is there anything in there that you did
That's
while you were in college? Is
crazy.
there any college work in there, or is it all post-college?
No, my hard drive from college. That's
You
why
didn't
you
have a
learn to.
backup?
I did not.
Okay.
A lot of learning
Brad
is making mistakes
backs up.
first.
Brad backs up. Brad,
That's good.
So, all right, Brad, you're good.
You got to back up.
All
so I
right.
lost a lot of data in college.
Okay, so I'm going to ask another follow-up question based on this whole Facebook thing, because we get asked this so much, and people are saying, because everybody wants to use Facebook because it's free, it's inexpensive and all. So so you post your pictures up there, but do you have any advice for our viewers on how to connect with clients via Facebook? Like, I would do blank, or I found that this works, or you found something that doesn't work on Facebook that would help our viewers.
I use Facebook. I don't share a whole lot of personal stuff on Facebook. I use a personal page mainly.
Okay.
But I use it for business. So, I mean, I post my photos up there, share my adventures. I really just...
Do you show like behind the scenes stuff?
Yeah,
or-
behind the
okay, so-
scenes is great.
Oh,
People love to see
you
that.
had a very good video that you showed in your presentation, and it was very well done. The production was really great.
Thank you.
But I thought that was really great, because if you were a client looking for somebody, it kind of gave you a peek into this is what it would be like shooting with
Yeah.
this person. Like if I
Right.
hired you
Right.
to do a fashion spread, you could
Yeah.
look at it and go, wow, they look like they're having fun on the set, and it was kind of black and white, right?
Exactly.
And all?
Yeah.
That's good. Now, do you run videos like that on your Facebook page? I've never been to your
do.
Facebook page.
I
I'm sorry.
do.
What is your Facebook page for people that want to find
Yeah,
you?
it should be under Dixie Dixon Photography.
No, it's pretty tough to find. Okay. All right.
For
so,
sure. Well, the fashion brands right now not only are looking for still images, but they're looking for behind-the-scenes videos to put on their website. So I started collaborating with a friend of mine. His name's Lorenzo, and he does amazing videos. So I'll shoot the stills, he'll shoot the video, and it ends up being a really cool combination. So
hey, there you are.
Yeah.
It was just like you said.
for
All
sure.
right. And you've got, so you have photos up here. Hey, Skip Cohen's one of your friends.
Oh, Skip's awesome.
Yeah, Skip is
Love
awesome.
Skip.
I love Skip. I just saw Skip at a conference, and Eddie Tapp. Holy crap, it's Eddie Tapp.
Eddie Tapp. Totally.
So okay, now so you use this for business. So and I'm trying to look at this from
Yeah.
a way to help. We get so many questions about this stuff, and you're a
totally.
success story with this. So I really want to look at this. So you have an about page that tells you all about you, all the things that
Way
you
too
do.
many quotes on there.
No, that's okay. All right. So
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like a master. I'm not a master social networker or anything. I don't use Twitter as much as I should, but I just try to keep it real and try to post every, week or so, new images.
you only do it once a week?
Yeah, usually.
You're killing me. Okay. I post 11 times a day, and I have like 14 friends. Okay, let's get some more questions. Gary Monroe asks, how do you connect with your models to get what you want? And so, Gary, I'm assuming that Gary's more asking, like how do you emotionally connect with
Right.
them rather than like
Right.
how do you contact them on the phone?
Yeah, that is huge. Your connection with your talent is definitely going to make your images really stand out. So I think all that goes into creating the experience when you shoot. And so anytime somebody arrives on my set, I have music playing, I have food on set. Everything's a really, really comfortable atmosphere. And so they feel comfortable enough to express themselves, in camera. And instantly when they arrive on set, I'm telling them how beautiful they look, how excited I am to shoot them today. Just everything really, really, really positive energy. I'm a big energy person. As weird as that sounds, it's you really have to create a beautiful, enthusiastic energy on set in order to get that mood out of people where they don't look stiff and sort of uncomfortable.
Yeah. But what if they come to your studio and they're not beautiful? Let's say it's Matt.
He's
And
beautiful.
they come. If he shaved, he would look beautiful. But what it looks like now, he looks homeless. Okay, so I'm kidding. You don't. You look fully employed.
Thank you.
Okay, so you talk to them, and how long do you spend kind of rapping with them or?
I will
getting them
say,
to-
when I shot portraits, I would literally stalk my portrait clients on Facebook. I would figure out what music they like, what interests they have, literally do a background check on them basically, so I have a connection instantly when they walk on set.
Ah.
So instantly, it's oh, you like John Mayer, you have that instant connection, and they, loosen up. Instantly.
Oh, that's good. So you're doing a little research on them,
Yes.
kind of like an interviewer word, like someone that's going to be
Yeah.
in an interview. You do a little
Exactly.
research, you find out, and I just happen to have some John Mayer right here.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
All right, so now let's say they get there. And I'm gonna guess not every single one of the people that you shoot is just snaps into pose and is perfect every time.
No.
All right, so they get there, and this happens to be one of those people that is, you're shooting.
Maybe it's
Right.
a test shoot, right?
Yeah.
A test shoot
Yeah,
or something.
so you start shooting. Is it
Right.
bam? Are you nailing shots right away, or are you
No.
kind of what happens? What happens when they're not? You take a few shots. Do you stop? Do you talk to them?
Yeah, so immediately when the model or portrait client, whoever it is, gets there, they go into hair and makeup, and that takes 2 hours. So they've walked in, I see what they look like in person, I see their face shape, all that good stuff, and so I'm setting up the lights, and then I'll have them come while they're in hair and makeup and test the lights on them. And I'll kind of evaluate and see if I like the lighting. And if I don't like it, I'll switch it up. Or if I like it, I may keep that lighting I'm going with. So in the beginning, I think you're feeling out what looks good because, natural light looks better on some people. Studio light looks better on some people. You just never know until they get there.
Yeah.
So a lot of the very beginnings of a shoot, I feel like you're experimenting. And then you sort of hone in after you shot a little bit.
All right,
hone
so
in on those money shots.
I'm gonna refer to something we talked about. I was trying to lead you down into
Nice.
this path, but I don't think we're good. I think because we talked about so many things at once. I don't
Right.
think
Totally.
you're picking up on it. When one of the things I thought when we were coming back from lunch that you said, and it was Pete and I were like, that's really good.
Right.
Was when you're photographing somebody. As we talked about, it's a warm up.
Right.
It's you're kind
Exactly.
of honing in on the shot that you want.
Right.
And you said you've seen a lot of times where someone will stop shooting.
Right.
And when you stop shooting, the talent immediately starts thinking, what
Yeah.
am I doing wrong? I mean, there's a
Exactly.
million things that run through your head, especially the people
Exactly.
you photograph, because they're used to moving for every shot. They
Right.
hear the click and they move into the next pose. They hear the
Exactly.
click, they move to the next one. What you said was you actually keep shooting even if
Yes.
you're not happy.
Right. So, like I said about positive feedback, if you're shooting and if you're shooting a model or whoever it is, and you're taking a while to click the shutter, the model is instantly going to think, oh, I'm not doing the right poses, I'm not doing the right thing. So, even if they don't have the right pose at that moment, I'm shooting through it and giving them good feedback instead of stopping and saying, that looks horrible. I mean, people don't relate to that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I'm doing something wrong, and they instantly tense up.
Yeah.
So I'll literally just shoot through that moment until they get to a comfortable
That's
spot.
a really good tip. I mean,
So-
it's just because the last thing you want them sitting there thinking about
Is I suck.
Yeah, what am I doing
Yeah.
wrong? What am I? Because then
If
it
they
just
become
it-
self-conscious.
Exactly.
yeah, it
you're in
spirals
trouble.
down from
It
there.
totally, yeah.
So you're almost you're not just warming up, but you're letting them warm up too.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, everybody's ice cold, right, when
Yeah.
you first start shooting. A couple more questions. So we already answered the one, did you go to college? So let's go to Cub Fan asks, what photographers inspired you?
Ooh. I can never pronounce his name. Patrick Demarchelier, is that right? I think that's how you pronounce it. He's a great,
that's it.
He's a great fashion photographer. And Paolo Reversi, I love his experimental style. There are so many photographers that I love. I'm constantly finding new ones that inspire me, for sure.
All righty, there we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Tony Goodman, what camera lens does Dixie use primarily?
I love you know what, it's funny, I use a lot of older film lenses because the Nikkor, I find it interesting, the Nikkor lenses, the newer ones, have this nano coating, which is great if you don't want lens flare.
Yeah, it stinks.
But-
if
It
you
is.
want
It's awesome
lens
if
flare.
you don't want lens flare.
Yes, awesome, but if you want lens flare, I love lens flare, and I want that. So a lot of times I'll buy older lenses to get that sort of, lens flare-y look. But I love, the 85, the 180, I literally started out with a D70 camera and only a 50 millimeter lens. That was all the equipment I had when I started out. So keep in mind, you don't have to drop a bunch of dough on, the best of the best equipment when you start out. So,
And you said a 180 millimeter? Mm-hmm. All right, and you use that one a lot? Is that one of your favorites?
yeah, it's one of my favorite headshot
So that's
lenses.
an old school.
Old school.
Old school
Yeah.
lens, yeah. And it's a prime, just a
Yeah,
180.
just primes. I
And-
shoot mainly primes.
And you said 85-1.4? Are you mostly using that outdoors?
Yes.
All right. So 85-1.4. How much do you do studio versus location?
I would say currently half and half.
Okay.
'Cause-
do you do a lot of gray seamless stuff? Shooting a
I
lot
do.
on gray seamless. Yeah.
A lot of gray seamless. When you're shooting in studio, you have a lot more control. So if I'm shooting for a client that wants their product completely in focus, it's great to have those strobes because you can make everything in the image really, really crisp. And it's always good to have a good macro lens. I love the Nikkor 105. It's one of my favorites.
But you're still shooting portraits with a macro lens.
Right.
Yeah. So it is a lens that we got real close up on this microphone, but you're actually they work great for portrait. A lot
Yeah.
of
It's
people
actually
use
the 105 is a wonderful
it's a
portrait lens.
It's
Yeah.
a wonderful
It's a great
portrait lens.
lens.
All right, very good. So, since we're talking about gear, Sam Yan asks, what's your go-to lighting setup? So if you're like, so we're gonna say it's not the client's requirement. Like
Okay.
you're gonna do a project for yourself, and it's gonna let's just say, just to keep everything simple, it's gonna be a gray seamless shot. What's your go-to?
Are we talking
lighting?
strobes or constant?
Strobes.
Strobes. Probably, a lot of my images are shot with one light, super simple. I use a beauty dish, either straight on, just above, or up to the side a little bit.
Okay.
And that's.
Do you use a diffusion sock over the beauty dish?
Usually not. Usually not. I like that contrast.
Your subjects must have good skin,
Yes,
because I'll tell you
yes.
what, if I'm shooting matte, I throw a diffusion. I put 2 of them over it and a pair of Brad socks.
And it looks like I shaved by the
And
time
it looks,
he's
hey,
done.
when you're done, it looks like Frosty the Snowman. Okay, all right, so that's in studio, you're using a beauty dish. How big, like 17 inch? Or a big one? 22, like a big old
I have two.
honker or a kind
I
of
usually
small?
I have a big one that's about this big, and then I have a smaller one.
Which one, what do you choose? Whether you're
If I
lighting
want
your
it to
face
be
or-
more moody, I'll use the smaller one because you get that sort of fall off.
Yeah.
Then if I want to use the bigger one if I want to get full body, you can do that with the bigger beauty dish.
So usually just one light, beauty dishes.
Or I'll do a 3-light setup and then overexpose the sides to get that cool jawline on guys a lot
Hey,
of times.
can you give us on guys, okay, so you're doing rim lights on both sides.
Right,
Okay.
and those are usually overexposed a little bit.
And so that like maybe a stop or two higher
Over.
than the front light. And are you, so the backlights, are they bare bowl strobes, grids on them?
Usually
softboxes?
umbrellas.
Umbrellas. So a couple of umbrellas and still the beauty dish up front. All right. Okay. Oh wait. Now what if you mentioned constant lighting? So these are not flashes. They're just stay on all the time.
Right.
Are they hot lights? Soft? Are they like Westcott spider lights or what are
I
they?
love my new favorite constant light is the Joker bugs. You ever guys heard of this?
Joker bugs?
I literally put a Joker bug in the middle of a Mola beauty dish yesterday, and it looked amazing. I love.
Joker bug.
Yeah, it's an HMI light, but it's a lot more
Oh
portable.
my gosh! Is this?
It's really
These
cool.
are really expensive.
Well, you don't buy them; you rent them.
Yeah, they're $4,000 or $5,000.
Yeah, they're expensive.
Dear Lord!
Have
It says
expensive
it will be
taste.
drop shipped to you directly from the manufacturer. You know why? Because nobody can keep them in stock.
Yeah.
They're $5,000. I wouldn't have that laying
They're only
around the
$100
warehouse.
to rent, though. They're $100.
Where do you
to
rent your stuff from?
Usually MLD.
MLD, and they're in Dallas. So $100 a day.
What camera store do you like in Dallas?
I love Arlington camera.
Yeah.
I'm totally partial.
Joker bug. So which
Jay's
Joker
great.
bug do you rent? The 200, the 400, or the 800?
I rented both the 800 and the 400 for a commercial yesterday.
Wow.
It's beautiful light,
It's
especially when you
beautiful light,
put
though.
it
So-
inside a beauty dish.
Okay, so you attach a beauty dish to the front of it.
We kind of rigged it
Now,
because it didn't have
so
the right
this is
rig.
this hot lighting? This is actually it's warm. Do you feel the
It
heat?
is a little bit hot, but it's daylight balanced.
It looks cool.
It's
It looks
really
cool.
It's like
It looks like something you'd light your lawn with, like you'd light a tree in your yard. You know?
Yeah, it does a little
It does
bit.
look
It's
like
from
that.
Call of Duty.
But most
Joker bug.
HMIs have that huge ballast that you have to use. This
do
one is
airplane.
portable.
Oh, do airplay?
It's-
Okay.
The rest of the audience can't see one thing.
Yeah.
that's different here.
This
You guys don't worry about what's going on up here. We're just gonna have our own
Funny.
little talk.
But when
I'm sorry. Yeah, okay.
When I'm shooting strobes, I shoot pro photo for sure.
You shoot pro photo strobes.
Uh-huh.
Man, you're just like you're obviously using client money here. It's like, oh, we rent pro photos and then we rent some Joker bugs. Here's a Joker bug K5600. We use this to light a monster truck right there. We were doing a monster
could.
truck and tractor pull Saturday. Pulled out a couple of Joker bugs. You know what I like? The way it cycles back and forth between just two pictures. Now, seriously, can I say something?
Uh-huh.
I think we can get something just like this from Home Depot. I'm not kidding.
These are so bright,
I'm
though.
sure they are. Have you ever
But-
been to Home Depot and bought their brightest ones? Go
I have
back to
not.
that. Can you
I
see it real
should.
quick?
I would love
Watch
to.
this next one right here. Not that one. Sorry, there's another one. Doggone. Why did it stop going? This one. Tell me you can't get, it's like a car headlight.
It does
right
look like
there
that.
at Home Depot. Brad, get us a couple of those and just stick a Joker bug sticker on it
And then put it in a beauty dish.
and put it in the beauty dish. So how does the beauty dish
Totally.
attach here? It's
We rigged that.
it doesn't really, it's not really made for a beauty dish, is
No.
it? You know, when you spend $5,000, why should it be easy to put a softbox on? That's crazy.
It came with a softbox, so I just like the
Crazy talk.
contrastiness
Yeah,
of the
just,
beauty dish.
Just crazy, really.
I'm sorry.
Okay, let's get back to some questions here. So, let's ask this one from Quentin. Okay, so exactly where did you get the book made? So your portfolio book, which is, and you can't tell, but the pages are very heavy. It has like a glass cover over it. It's like a very, very nice wedding book. Is it like a Suka Books or something?
It's a
Hold
graphic.
it up.
It's a
Hold it up.
Graphy Studio book
It's Graphy Studio?
with the crystal glance cover.
Oh, they have beautiful stuff.
Oh,
They
with the crystal,
do.
with the crystal, what
They have
cover?
awesome
crystal
stuff.
glance cover.
Crystal glance
Mm-hmm.
cover.
They have awesome stuff.
That's cool.
So keep in mind that with these books, though, you can't constantly update them because it's a bound book.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll put my new work on my iPad and then have this book, for half a year until I order a new one.
How many do you order? One?
Usually two.
Two. They've got to be very inexpensive.
One for my agent, one for me.
One for one for the agency.
Right.
One for you. Now, do you ever send this out like if someone says, "Hey, I'm in Miami and I want to see your work," you'll ship the book? And you send them like a please FedEx it back?
Yes.
Kind of thing? Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
It's always a little scary, but yeah.
So I'm just gonna
Totally.
I'm just gonna ask this, and you can be very vague about it. Is a book like this $300 a piece or more?
A little bit more sometimes. It depends on the amount of pages
Yeah,
you do, but it's worth the investment if you book
No,
a
no,
huge
of course, it
job
is
off
your
of
calling
it.
One
card.
shoe
No.
can pay for it.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
More-
So
That's about all it'll pay for,
Yeah.
but still.
all right. So I'm going to ask
Hopefully
this
it'll
one.
do more than that.
I know the kind of the answer because I heard you talk about this in your presentation at the Nikon booth. Cody asks, where did you get the hat? And I just saw on your Facebook page, there's two pictures of you, both in a hat, and you're into hats.
Yes.
And you
Totally. This hat?
Yeah. Where'd you get that hat in particular?
Actually, it's kind of funny. I was doing a month-long shoot in December for a new camera, and we had a great stylist on set, and she brought this hat for one of the models, and I kind of snagged it.
Snagged it.
So
from
I
the model.
snagged it from
You
the
have a lot of
models
hats.
after the shoot.
How many hats do you have?
It was really peaked
I
at
have
that.
like 30 hats or more.
Like 30 hats.
I feel more creative with the hat on.
Bald, basketball spot. Yeah, okay, that's what Pete
People
said.
might think that.
Pete was saying
Yeah.
that. It's not me. All right.
Well,
Feel more
what's
creative.
what's his name? He does the guy from Poison that did the show. He always wears the thing around his head. 'cause
Oh,
there's,
yeah.
Oh,
like,
really?
Nothing there.
Hey, every rose has its thorn. Hey,
Just like every night.
has its dawn. You know, every cowboy sings a sad, sad song. This would make any kind of sense to Dixie if she wasn't freaking 27. She's going, I don't get these references. Who is Poison?
I know who Poison is.
Poison.
No, they're
totally do.
only
She
because
know
of the
Poison.
reality show.
I was in a ska band.
You were in a ska band?
Played saxophone.
Did you? I don't know if you realize that Poison's not big in the ska
No,
scene.
they're not ska,
Okay.
but-
See.
I don't
All right. Hey, where did you find your agent? Dr. Bear or Dr. Bear asks.
Yeah.
How'd you find your agent?
So the agency thing, I think a big misconception about agents is that once you get an agent, you can just like sit back and relax and they'll get you all the jobs. Totally not
You
true.
sit and wait for the phone to ring, right?
Totally not true.
Your book tomorrow.
No.
Hey.
Yeah.
Dixie, I got you a job.
I wish it worked that way. But so I'm still going out a lot and you know, seeking out work, showing my book, cold calling, all that stuff. I'm still doing all of that. But the agent does help the production side. And honestly, I got my agent through a makeup artist. And she works with my agent a lot. And I had worked with her on some test shoots. And she said, hey, if you're looking for a new lifestyle commercial fashion photographer, they're like, I know of somebody. And then I met with them. We hit it off and sort of went from there. So.
All right.
So-
go ahead, man.
So that's the agent part of the way
Right.
a shoot will start.
Yes.
How about from you? Because you just said cold calling. So what's a day like? You wake up and you're like, I need to go sell photography
hey,
today.
this is kind of. I'm going to ask his question in a different way.
Okay, go ahead.
And so what my question was going to be, but it's kind of like what Matt's is. How much of your time is spent? Now you're at a very successful part of your career. I mean, you're shooting the things that you are for the clients that you are, because we saw your client list. It's like just insane.
Thank you.
So, how much of your day is spent marketing, doing business, you know, all that stuff, and how much is it? Or of a week? Let's do a week. So of a week, how much of that time is spent on the business side of it, and how much is spent actually pulling the trigger on the shoot?
I shoot usually a couple times a week. So the rest of the time is spent in pre-production, calling. You know, getting these huge teams together is no small undertaking. 'Cause you got to have the hair and makeup, the wardrobe, the producer, the art director. Everybody has to be on the same page. So we'll have like conference calls before the shoot, and everyone needs to be well versed in what's going on, and then everything is all put together before the shoot happens. The shot list is everything put together, and then so the day of the shoot will run really seamlessly, and we're able to get all those shots in one day.
So
Or 2 days or whatever it
So
is.
it's a full day shoot. You shoot from morning till night, generally.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Really
Long shoots.
Right.
Yes.
How many things do you like? For example, if you're doing a full day shoot, how many things would you say you would knock out in a day? So how many looks? Let's say the client says, we're going to shoot all day long.
Right.
We've rented a studio and we've got a joker bug. Hey man, we got us a joker bug.
Joker bug.
I know this one girl, darling. Anyway, so you've rented your joker bug. How many looks can the client expect in a day?
Well, when you're shooting on location, you're going to get less looks because it's a bunch more setups. So with that Florsheim shoot for the shoe company, we did 20 shots that day, which was a lot.
Ooh, that is a lot.
20 different setups.
And how long was the day?
It was stressful. We shot till about 8 to 6.
Okay. And so you're shooting 1 or 2 days a week. 3 days a week, you're working on the business side of it.
Yes.
Okay, that's
Or
fine. That was that
3
what
days
kinda
a
what you
week?
were doing?
No. More like 2 days shooting and 5 days.
5 days.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. No.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're. All right.
You don't get Saturday
Well, no,
and Sunday off.
No, well, you hear this. I think a lot of people have the idea that, hey, I'm going to go start my photography business, and you know why I want to do it? Because I want to shoot. And if I quit my day job and go do this, I'll be able to just photograph all the time. And I think
wish that was the
yeah, that people realize, oh no, this is a business, and there's
Yeah.
taxes and bills
Yes.
and conference
Dude.
calls
Yes.
and client meetings and selling and all the other things.
You're a business owner. How many Saturdays and Sundays do you totally get off? You know.
yeah.
very
So
true.
I would kind of along the where I was going with is just I thought people might find it interesting that aspect of you selling
Right.
your photography business. What kinds of things do you do? Like, do you see a client that is that how it happens? Like you see XYZ client, and you're like, I'd love to shoot for them. I like their style. I like their products. I like to shoot for them.
Right.
How do you do that? What do you do then?
Basically, you can research your client I Google around a lot and try to find people's info, contact magazines that I'm interested in shooting for. And a lot of times when you're cold calling and trying to get meetings, you literally have to make 20 cold calls to get one meeting. It's like this.
And you do the calls yourself?
I do.
Right here. Wow, good for you.
Oh man, it's
brutal.
brutal.
Hard, right?
It's brutal.
It is brutal. It's tough.
And you have to have a thick skin because people are going to be, you know, when you get called by a salesperson, you're like, whatever, hang up. But some people will talk to you. I think the more real you can be and say, hey, I have some new work I'd love to show you. When you cold call, I think that people like genuineness as opposed to getting a sales call. You know?
All right, so let's just say, hypothetical question, you call me up and you say, hey, I got some new work and I want to show you. And I say, okay, as a client, what am I most likely to ask you to do? Email me some photos, set up an in-person, or what's the most likely scenario is going to happen?
Your goal is to set up an in-person meeting.
And what is the most likely scenario? Is it usually
They
Linda?
usually will say, send me some pictures online, and then usually I'll say back, well, hey, I'm going to be in your area, such and such. I'll give them 2 dates that I'll be in their area, and I'll try to get that in-person meeting, because when you get that in-person meeting, that's how you get the jobs.
Yeah.
Because people want to work with people they love working with and that they can relate to and they gel with.
That's
so
true.
That in-person,
you know what? I just did an interview yesterday, and I said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, people want to work with people they like and that they feel comfortable with, and they hire people, you know.
Right.
We have a bunch
Totally.
of great questions left, but we also have time. We have to take a break because I see camera people and directors and waving their arms and looking frantic. We are with Dixie Dixon. We got some great questions, and we have some giveaways. And when we come back, I know Pete will be ready with the giveaways.
Cool.
No, he's not. But we're going to take a break
They're
and come back
virtual
either way.
tickets.
They're virtual tickets. So stick around. We'll be right back. You're live here on The Grid. Don't go away.
All right.
Hi, my name's Dave Black, and I'd like to welcome you to Kelby Training, where you can come join me on my light painting landscapes class. One of our locations is going to be at one of the most famous, iconic barns here in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Not only will we do light painting there, but we will also do some soft focus technique. The site survey will give us an opportunity to look at our subject and start to figure out where we'll have camera position and where we would be applying the light painting from. Now, just because we're out here in the great outdoors in a big national park, don't think you can't do these at home. All the basics and fundamentals that we'll cover in this video will teach you how to get into light painting landscapes, whether you're out here in Teton National Park or right in your very own hometown. Come to my light painting landscapes video at kelbytraining.com. I hope to see you then.
Take the bottom
We
one.
know it's her. Okay. Hey, we are back. We're going to do our giveaways here real quickly.
Yay.
And hey, I want to add something else to the giveaways, all right? So now this one, okay, it's going to sound weird. I want to give away 100 free passes to watch Dave Black's new class on light painting grand landscapes.
Cool.
So we have an online class from Dave Black. Dave Black, how good is Dave Black?
Dave Black's awesome.
Amazing.
Dave Black
You can watch
is
him
in-
over and over again. We were
Seriously.
talking about how good he is today.
Seriously, he's
Nikon
one of
shooter.
the best trainers and most passionate and exciting. And I mean, I could watch Dave Black teach milk. It's like, here's how to drink a glass of milk, and you'd be like, God, I love this guy. I mean, he's brilliant. So he has a brand new class on Kelby Training Online called, well, I just said it. Can we?
Light painting grand landscape.
Thank you. Light painting grand landscapes. So if you go to kelbytraining.com, and you'll find Dave Black, and you can watch the promo of it. But it's terrific, and people have been writing in. The director of Kelby Training called me this week and said, "Man, people are crazy about Dave Black." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." Awesome. Anyway, we're going to give away 100 24-hour passes, so you can go watch that. So all you have to do is just write in your contest entry, just write Dave Black, and we'll know that you want one of those. So the first 100 people, of course, will get that. Pete, how do we give away things? We take them to a website to the giveaway?
KelbyTV.com/contest.
So go to kelbytv.com/contest. You're probably already on Kelby TV watching this, but if not, and then
On
you're going to
Scott's screen here, you can even
you're
see
going to
it.
go to /contest. Oh, Matt brought it up here on the screen here. Here, let me just pull this down a little bit. Go to contest, right here, and drop down to, there's a little pop-up menu, say grid. All right, and then your name and your email, and we're not going to share your email, but we are going to send you spam for the rest of your entire life. No, I'm kidding. Your website, and then down here, right,
You guys rock.
Matt needs to shave. No, you're going to write, something. Yeah, what you want, Dave Black. Okay, so we're also giving away a full conference pass to
You do know you're
Photoshop
going to take
World.
heat for that.
For
The
your
whole shaving thing.
I know, because you know what? You were mean to Matt. I know.
I'm just
I know.
telling you, dude.
Matt's my friend. He knows I'm just teasing. It's like, every time I pick on Matt, literally people are like, you picked on Matt. No, I like Matt a lot. He's one of my best friends. It's not an issue. Okay. Anyway, what else is our giveaway? We're giving away tickets to Matt's seminars or
Photoshop
RC
World.
seminars. If you're not sure what city they're in, go to
Training.
kelbytraining.com.
Yep.
Click the live training button, and there's the next 3 or 4 cities. And tell us what city you want to go to, and we'll pick some winners, right, Pete?
Cool.
Pete says
Pete
yes.
says yeah.
All right, we don't have that much time left. We're almost out of time, so we have a bunch of questions, and Dixie's going to answer them all either with a yes, no, or a grunt. No, she's going to answer them really quickly. Carl Moore asks, what was Dixie's big break moment?
Ooh, I'm not sure if big break is the word. I would say that when I booked that gig for the TV show, I shot for a travel show. We would go around the world shooting swimsuit models, and it's kind of a crazy story, but we'd go around the world shooting swimsuit models, and my name sort of started getting out there because of that. So I guess that was probably one of the big moments.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very similar to Pete's story. All right, Quentin, where can I find models for fashion photography? I can't seem to find any models. I'm in Louisiana. I can tell you what your problem is, Quentin.
A friend of mine owns an agency in Louisiana, actually. I think it's called Moxie Agency.
Moxie Agency.
But otherwise, you can travel to Dallas. They have pretty good models in Dallas.
Well, it's interesting because I think people don't realize you can just call them modeling agency.
Yeah,
that's what
totally.
they're for. So I was just making a joke about Louisiana. It's like Matt. It's just a joke. I love Louisiana. Been to New Orleans many times. Great town.
I know we got a lot of questions, but I think there's like something good that they can learn from this, which is. So, because he specifically said fashion photography.
Right.
He didn't say, I just want to shoot models and practice with lights.
Right.
And the model is a big part of that.
Huge.
But it's not
Huge.
the stylizing,
The styling.
and the makeup,
Yes.
and all those different things. So while he might be going through the modeling website that maybe he doesn't like,
Right.
there's other aspects to this that actually he might, there might be somebody that is perfect for this. He's just not seeing it because he's seeing them.
True.
He's seeing their Model Mayhem profile pic.
That could be true, but you have to start out with that right talent for whatever you're shooting. And if the model isn't the right model for the
It's
for the
very
job,
different than glamour.
Yeah.
It's not
very
glamour.
different than glamour.
So if you're used to like shooting like swimsuit models or something,
Very
real
different.
fashion models are very, very different. They have a
Very
different
tall.
set of skills, a different look, and I don't think people all realize that fashion photography is about clothing.
right? Mm-hmm.
Where,
you gotta sell
where
the
glamour
clothes.
photography is about the model.
Right.
So there's quite a big difference.
So
Sure.
I guess what I was getting at, he's got a bigger step too. Not just to
Yeah.
find the person, but he's got to find a couple other things that
Right.
kind of
Right.
revolve
Because-
around.
Oh,
because
for sure.
you may find a terrific fashion model, and then what's going to happen is you're going to wind up going, wow, well, she doesn't look like what I was expecting.
And then-
that's because you don't have the hair, and the
makeup,
makeup, and the
wardrobe.
styling, and wardrobe. All of those.
Huge.
Those are
Yes.
really, really huge. Okay, so Louis, we already answered your question. Any favorite modifiers for fashion in particular? You like the beauty dishes?
Beauty dishes.
Big beauty
Love
dish
them.
lover. Nate J says, having wedding experience, what tools and knowledge would you bring back if you were to do a wedding today?
Oh gosh, I was a horrible wedding photographer.
Okay, easy enough. We can move on. And she would do nothing. LDJ Marcelo, how does Dixie feel about shooting women with a 50 millimeter lens? Like a 50 millimeter prime?
I think it depends on what you're shooting. If you're shooting headshots, I think it's good to use a longer lens because it has a flattening effect and their face is going to look a lot more flattering with a longer focal length lens. But if you're shooting full body or 3/4 shots, the 50 millimeters is fine usually.
Yeah, and we've said that there's a lot of talk about this on the web, and it's like if you shoot a headshot or a close up,
Right.
Especially a woman with a 50 millimeter lens, what does it do to their face?
It's going to distort it.
It's going to distort their face.
Yeah.
It's very, very unflattering.
Right.
Now, So when you ask, what do you think about using a 15 millimeter? You said the exact right thing is, it's a bride coming down the aisle, full length shot, perfect.
Perfect.
Shooting in the studio, you want full length, 15 millimeters, fine.
Perfect.
It's because it's almost like and it was Cliff Maltner who actually said, I wouldn't shoot anybody with a 50 millimeter. He was talking about close-up portraits of women.
Right.
Specifically.
Yeah.
But everybody wants to just remove the headshot part and just say, I can't ever shoot a 50 millimeter. So, all right.
50 millimeters are
What
great for
camera
other
body
things.
does Dixie use now?
I currently use the D3X Nikon camera and the D800.
Hey, that was John. John, much love.
Yo.
He knows. I love that guy. All right. He's shoots for the Eagles, Philadelphia Eagles. He's
very cool.
Very good, very good sports photographer. He's in the sports
Nice.
community that I'm in, and he's a great guy.
Cool.
All right.
That's awesome.
Riker VP or Riker VP. What do you prefer, studio location shooting?
I prefer location.
Cool. Quentin, do you use other colored backgrounds besides white, gray, black, or do you edit the color in post? If so, then how?
Ooh, I like to shoot things as they're going to end up. I don't like to do, if I don't have to do a ton of stuff in post, I don't like to.
So if you get to choose a color, you have to choose a color background for a shoot tomorrow. Your first choice is?
Ooh, that is hard. Probably gray or black.
Yeah, in fashion, gray is very
Gray
big.
is very
Black's good too.
seamless.
You had a beautiful black portrait in here. Can I grab this book real quick? Can I just show this? I know we keep showing these, but you had a beautiful one that is on black, and it's very. I love the elegantness of it.
I love shooting black and white. Because with black and
This
white,
shot.
you get to
I
the
want to get
soul.
rid of the glare. Let me find out where the place where the glare isn't. Oh gosh, that's not it. Hold on.
There you go.
But that, I love that on. It's almost. I don't know if you might have a little backlighting on there, so it looks like there's a tint of blue back there.
Yeah, I put a
But-
gel on a black background.
Oh, a gel on a black background. You know, people always freak out that you can light up. You can make a black background red with a gel.
You
'cause
can?
It's very. Actually, it's fairly easy. And much easier than making a white background or a gray
Right.
background. Way easier. But I love
Exactly.
the elegance of this. Right? It looks very
you.
elegant. It has a very nice look to it. Sorry. All right.
Appreciate
How much time do you spend post processing?
I'm not a huge post processor. I do the basics. I'll do skin retouching. I do that all by hand. I don't use any software or anything.
Yeah.
It's all like one pour at a time.
Oh, you do the individual like dodging and burning pour by pour?
Well, not exactly pour by pour. I actually use the rubber stamp tool a lot.
Yeah.
So I kind of have my own way. The retouching,
It
there's
works.
an art to it.
Hey, it works.
So whatever means to the madness.
Sam
all
Yan,
good.
how important is the makeup and hair artist as a starter? How do you find people who would work for you?
Okay, so when you're starting out, you obviously don't have a huge book to show people, so it's a little harder to get people to work for you for free, but you just kind of got to find people on your same level, like on Model Mayhem and whatnot, that are just starting out too, and once you start building your book, you're going to be able to work with better and better hairstylists, better makeup artists, and sort of just grow as your book grows.
Cool. Do you do any black and white? Well,
Love black and white.
you have some beautiful black and white and beautiful duotones.
Thank you.
In your book.
I feel like when you shoot or when you show your images in black and white, more of the emphasis goes to the soul of the image and the soul of the person, whereas when you shoot in color, more of your eyes go towards the clothes. So if the clothes aren't spectacular, make the image black and white.
You sound like Brad Moore. Brad's like, if the lighting isn't good at a concert, make it black and white. Right? That's a Brad Moore
man.
tip. All right, and let's see. Last question. Is this the last question? Yeah, okay. So DJ King Julian asks, Dixie, do you have a funny story you have from shooting with a celebrity? Now, you don't have to give the celebrity's name unless you feel comfortable about it.
Funny story. I should. I wish that I did. I mean, I've gone backstage. You know how rock stars are. They're always crazy, and it's always more a good time. But
Oh, yeah, we're always backstage. How about you, Matt? You hanging out a lot
She
backstage?
said rock stars.
Yeah.
Y'all
No,
are
we go
definitely
backstage.
rock
No, we go
stars.
backstage with rock stars. We're always hanging out with, Motley Crue. Hey, it's me, Scott.
yeah.
You know, can I come backstage? Sure, Scott. Here's a pass. Come on back.
so
Come by
funny.
tomorrow,
Oh,
too.
Van Halen. Sure, Scott. Come back. Yeah. My only hope is one of them has
Yeah,
a
we don't get
camera.
invited backstage.
Yeah, we don't go
Well, I
backstage.
mean, I haven't shot like a ton of celebrities or anything like that, but hopefully, eventually, I'll be able to. So,
I think so.
Yeah. I hope so.
Brad.
Just make some.
So,
Brad wrote. This is a note to Dixie. Just make something up. No one will know. So I was
That's
shooting Jack Nicholson
amazing.
one day. And you can't believe what happened.
I have a crazy story when I shot the Nikon cover. That's a crazy
Oh, okay.
story.
All right.
I was hired to shoot for a best-selling author because he's trying to turn his book into a movie. So I had to literally read his, action thriller novel and recreate some of the iconic scenes from the book.
Is that where the helicopter shot
right,
came from?
Exactly.
Those are so good. Those are
Yeah,
terrific.
so much. So we literally had to book a helicopter hub, and they had me on a walkie-talkie directing the second helicopter into the frame, and I only had 10 minutes to get that shot. So part of photography is sometimes getting thrown into situations, and you just got to figure it out.
That's cool.
So it was good times.
Okay, very cool. Yeah. Well, Dixie, thank you so much. Where can people go to learn more about you? Where can they follow you? Well, we're on Facebook. They can go to Dixie Dixon Photography. You say you're not really big on Facebook?
Oh.
I mean, on Twitter?
I'm starting to be.
All right.
I'm trying to be.
Let's get your numbers up on Twitter then. Where can they follow you?
I am Dixie Dixon.
I am Dixie Dixon?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Dixie Dixon was not available. Can you believe that?
I am Dixie Dixon.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then DixieDixon.com.
How about I am the real Dixie Dixon?
That's true.
All right. And so your website is DixieDixon.com.
Uh-huh.
Cool. Now, somebody mentioned, they just mentioned in passing that you were doing some kind of a seminar.
Yes.
And what do they call it? Get it? No, what is it?
I call it Get Lit.
Oh, Get Lit. Okay, Get
Yeah.
Lit. Yeah, it was just on the screen for a second.
It's cheesy, but...
Okay, so tell us real quickly, because we're completely out of time, but we have time for this.
Okay, so I'm just doing a seminar at WPPI coming in March, and talk about a little bit more about the lighting and stuff that goes into my images. So
Very nice.
Yeah.
All
fun,
right.
fun time.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank
you were
you
awesome,
so much.
awesome
You guys
host.
are awesome.
Matt, you were pretty much the same as you always are.
Yeah.
Brad, thank you very much
nice.
to the crew, and
Cool.
even Pete. Hey, we do want to thank our sponsor, MPix, because without MPix, well, there's nothing. Also, tomorrow on my blog, scottkelby.com, is Free Stuff Thursday. We give away free stuff.
Ooh.
So every Thursday we give away free stuff. You know why? Because we're loose with money. Take care, everybody.
Bye. Woo.
This week's episode of The Grid is sponsored by MPix. Shoot today, upload tonight, we ship tomorrow. Manfrotto, imagine more. All One Software, focused on photography. Tiffin, helping create the world's greatest images. Peach Pit Press, publishers of technology books, ebooks, and videos for creative people. Epson, exceed your vision. Expo Imaging, Rogue Flash Benders for speedlight enthusiasts. Nix Software, photography first. And B&H Photo, the professional source.